Hi there, I'm Katie Cat, and this is our weekly AstroTarot. If I sound a little hoarse, it is because I have been sick for about the last 10 days. I've been down with the flu. So I encourage you all to take good care of yourself because our health is not something to take for granted. I somehow have gone through 45 years of my life without ever having had the flu, and or at least not having it this bad that I can remember. And I just, man, it took me out. And my brain has felt like mush, and my energy level has been like -5. My fever has been super intense, and I really just couldn't get anything done at all for the last 10 to 12 days. So if you have had that, I am so sorry. If you're suffering with it, I hope you get well soon. Rest is ultimately, I think, the thing that did me the best. Rest and lots of liquids, as all of my friends kept telling me over and over and over again. That is ultimately what helped me the most. So I am hoping that I will be back to myself soon. I feel like I'm on the mend. I broke my fever a couple days ago, but I'm still coughing my lungs out like a goose. So with that said, hooray for health. Go team. This is the doorway that we are passing through. So Pisces, the energy of Pisces, we have 4 planets in Pisces right now. And there are some pretty big dogs up in Pisces. We have Saturn, which will be in Pisces for another 2 years. It's bringing a level of sobriety and responsibility to the area of Pisces, wherever it is sitting in your chart. And we currently have Mercury, Neptune, the Sun, and Saturn all in Pisces. We will have a new moon on the 10th of March in Pisces, after which Venus will move into Pisces, which will be bringing some compassion into the area that we've been experiencing maybe a little bit of harsh energy for the last month or so. And then we'll also have Mars move into that area as well. So there's a lot of stirring up going on in the house of wherever Pisces is sitting in your chart, whether it's in the 1st through the 12th houses. So this is a doorway of which we are all passing, hence the challenge that we have coming in for this week. We're in a period of deep reflection into the vastness of the ocean. And in order to see a reflection, you have to bring some stillness to within you. If you have too many currents and too many storms going on, it is very difficult to see any reflection in a pool of water. And so if you were looking at your own inner pool by way of your own emotional world, in order to gather an honest observation, it's time to sit and be still and be in reflection. Now, the way through that challenge came in by way of the moon card. Now, I did just mention we have a new moon on the 10th of March. It will be a new moon in the sign of Pisces. And new moons are the time of the month where the moon and the sun are near a similar degree in the same sign. So we don't see the moon. It's a dark moon. And in the darkness, there's a lot that is unrevealed. There's a lot that we can fall into by way of fear and by way of illusion because it is darkness. And yet we have to remember that there is this wisdom within us, even in those darkest moments. It's the light that is within us that we have to look toward. And the moon card is a pretty serious card by way of the major arcana. Major arcanas, whenever they show up, are speaking to some kind of life lesson that we are working through. And when we look at the moon card, we see these very interesting symbols in the card itself. We see this wild wolf who is mirrored by this domesticated dog. We also see a scarab and then a little crustacean, which is coming out of the water. And they're moving down along this path through these 2 towers, up this mountain and to a ridge. Now, this card always reminds me of that movie, The Never-Ending Story, where Trail has to go through the two towers in order to like go to the next level of the movie, and level almost like it's a game, but he has to go through these two sphinx-like characters, and the only way he can pass through them without being completely obliterated is if he has a heart pure, that is of pure gold, with the purest of intention. And the moon is signifying that, this separation from the mundane and the spiritual, this refinement of self. And it's telling us, you know, if you've wandered off your path, it is time to find your feet back on the ground and to move forward. And so when you feel like you're in a time of darkness, go within, much like this card in the challenge position was pointing to as well. The reflection that we're being asked to do is inward, so that we can let go of that which is no longer serving us, so that we have the full energy and attention to put towards this project that we feel like we are being called to complete, at least this, you know, calendar year. Now, as far as the ultimate outcome, there's some interesting cards on the table, because we have two more major arcanas. The Temperance card, which is speaking to the energy of Jupiter. And Jupiter right now is up in Taurus at around, what is it, 11 degrees? Where are you, Jupiter? Yeah, actually, it's at 11 degrees. So being that it's at 11 degrees, and we will, when we have the, yep, it's at 11 degrees. It's really close right now to where the sun is positioned, because the sun is at 14 degrees. So we have this interesting sextile relationship happening right now between Pisces and Taurus. And it's like, it's actually really interesting, because it's using these two forces to build something that can actually take us into the future. Now, when we consider Taurus, Taurus is our beliefs, right? Taurus is that earth energy of something that we've been building. And Jupiter is this energetic of expansion. Now, what's interesting to me about the interplay of cards that are on the table is, you know, if we consider the energy of Saturn, Saturn is the timekeeper of the zodiac. He's Father Time. He also brings responsibility to whatever area he sits in, and he sits in every sign for about 2.5 years. So Saturn and Jupiter are right now in this sextile relationship. So in a lot of ways, they're working together to help us create some kind of structure in our lives. Now, consider that next year, a year from right now, Saturn will still be in Pisces, but Jupiter will have moved on to the sign of Gemini. So Jupiter won't be there anymore to help Saturn build this structure in our lives. So we're having this expansive, helpful energy right now in our belief systems, so that we can actually make sure that we lay the foundation in the area that we want to build in for the next 2 years, that Saturn is going to actually be helping us with this, but we're laying that anchor right now. So we're being asked to use these two opposing forces, much like the figure in this card is doing. He's using the energetic of fire and water to build something new, to create something that couldn't have been created with either one of them individually. And he's doing this through the action of friction. And so we need to consider that whatever it is in our life that is showing us some kind of challenge or showing us some kind of friction, we need to take a step back, and instead of reacting to it, look at a way to use the energy for our own advantage, so that we can use it to move forward through these two towers that we are being called to pass beyond. Now, that is further clarified by the Queen of Cups, which is a water-governed card. It's a cardinal water-governed card, so it's active water or active emotion. we need to learn how to use our emotions, our energy in motion for positive good instead of using it to weather ourselves into a pile of rocks. You know, there's this interesting energy that we're being asked to use our emotional nature and to apply it in this area of our lives currently. That's further clarified by the High Priestess card, which is another intuitive, govern, moon ruled card. So we have all of this water on our table today by way of cups, and also the energies that are speaking to Pisces, and all of these energies that are kind of pointing at these two directions or these two anchors in our chart. So wherever those two anchors are, of Pisces and Taurus, these are where we're going to be experiencing the biggest shifts this year, because we have huge energies sitting in these areas. We have Saturn sitting in Pisces for the next 2 years, and then we have a really big energy up in Taurus right now by way of Jupiter and Uranus. Now, what is actually pretty cool about following the moon, which if you haven't created your own little diagram, maybe that's something I'll teach people how to do. But if you plot the moon and how it moves through your natal chart throughout the month, you'll see how your own personal natal chart is influenced by either the new or full moon. And we're in one of these phases right now where we're moving toward a new moon, which the new moon is going to be in Pisces. And then we have all of these energies which are lining up with the planets of Jupiter and the planet of Uranus up in Taurus. So what's interesting about that is that Jupiter and Uranus are going to be coming into conjunction in April of this year, which is going to be a really big shift globally. So societally, like in our monetary systems, in our agricultural systems, in our values, everything that's related to Taurus, and more dialed in specifically depending on where Taurus is in your chart. But these alignments that are happening right now by way of Saturn, it's like preparing us for that. It's asking us to like cut out the fat, cut out the things that are wasting our energy, cut out the things that are chewing your time up, cut out the things that are, like thorns in your side that aren't actually helping you to progress, and to look at those things and look at what you need to let go of in your own life, because you can't take everything with you through that doorway. You can't take everything with you on to the next level that you're moving toward. And so we have to get down to the brass tacks of things. We have to get down to looking at what is really important for our own legacy and our own life that we feel we need to complete this year. And how can we use this energy that's building up right now over the next month and a half as kind of like a slingshot to take advantage of it, rather than having it just be something that is a passing moment or a passing ship in the night. And there is a big call, I believe, for us to have more stillness, for us to have more meditation, for us to really take time to listen inwardly rather than externally, because there is a lot of chatter of what ifs and possibilities around fear and so many things that can just take you down so many different rabbit holes. And ultimately, we are all going through some kind of doorway. We're all going through some kind of big change and big shift. And it's important that you have your wits about you and that you know what your truth is, and that you stand up with that no matter what other people are throwing at you. we have the High Priestess energy, which is interestingly enough kind of like a mirror of this moon card, and they're both governed by the moon, but we see these kind of like pillars in her card of the black and white, and we see these pillars by way of the towers in the moon card. And there's this period of waiting which we're all in right now, and this new moon is going to be the donut for a lot of things that are going to change. And so I think it's important that all of us get really clear on where we want to put our energy and where we want to dedicate ourselves to, because that's going to be the anchor that holds you within the storm that we're all going through right now. That may have sounded kind of cryptic, but I do have flu brain. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what comes in the next week or so. I imagine this new moon will be an interesting shift for a lot of us. I send you so much love. And if you're like me, you're looking at things in your life that you need to adjust and change and shift so that you can be an even better version of yourself. And I support you in that. If you have any questions about your chart, we can schedule some time. I'm not taking any readings for about a week or so, just to make sure my brain is working correctly and that I can breathe and stuff and not be hacking during readings. But I send you a lot of love, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.